Today, we're going to knock down a 700 level work rate question, and embedded in this question is a super important GMAT concept. It's everywhere on the test, and it's this. If A plus B equals total, then total minus A must equal B. It's an incredibly important concept, and as you're going to see in the example we're about to do, we're going to use that concept in order to figure out Crane 2's work. Also, just for being here, I have a free guide for you. 3 GMAT myths that are holding back your score. As I'm sure you've noticed, the amount of misinformation about this test is staggering. I always want to be your constant source of real and true information about the GMAT. So what I've done is I've taken 3 of the most persistent and frankly 3 of the most harmful myths, and I've debunked them, and I've shown you how the test actually works. Because when you understand how the test really works, your score is going to go up, and it's going to go up by a lot. So this training, this guide, it's completely free. You can download it in the description. Okay, let's get on to that work rate question. So the basic framework for any work rate question is rate times time equals work. Now here's the key thing. Regardless of how cleverly they try and word the problem or how hard they try and disguise the information in the problem, all of the information they give you will ultimately fit into this framework, rate times time equals work. As the questions get harder, they just disguise the information more and more cleverly. So what we're going to do in these examples is we're going to show you the classic ways they try and hide and disguise information from you and show you how it fits into the framework, so when you see it on the test, you're going to be ready. Now, there's also 2 other formulas that fall right out of the algebra here. If rate times time equals work, then that means that rate must equal work over time, and time must equal work over rate. 2 other things are really important in work rate problems. The first is, in work rates, we add rates all the time, but we almost never add time. Also, if you're in a work rate problem and you're not real sure what's going on, always get everyone's rate. If you can get everyone's rate, you're in a pretty good position to be able to get the question right. Example 4. A crane can unload a cargo ship in X hours. A second crane can unload the same amount of cargo in Y hours. If the first crane operates for H hours alone and then is joined by the second crane until 25 ships are unloaded, which expresses how long crane 2 worked. Okay, I have no idea what any of that means. I take a look at the answer choices. I don't know what they mean either, but I know for sure that rate times time equals work. Rate is work over time, and time is work over rate. I also know that we have crane 1, crane 2, and together. Okay, and that's great because we now have a framework, and we know a framework is twice as smart as you and me put together. On every GMAT problem, our very first move is always to pull out what we've been asked for and write it down. And in this case, we've been asked to find crane 2's time. Okay, great. Next move, go into the question, pull out the information we're given, and figure out where it fits into the framework, because it must fit into the framework. First thing we're told, a crane can unload a cargo ship in X hours. Have we just been given time? No. Just like in the last example, we have just been given rate. 1 cargo ship in X hours. Rate is work over time. Crane 1's rate is 1 over X, which means crane 2's rate must be 1 over Y. Now we are given time. Crane 1 worked, the amount of time that crane 1 worked was H hours, okay? That means that the amount of work that crane 1 must have done is rate times time, or H over X. Do you have any idea what it means to do H over X amount of work? Nope, but it's true for sure because the framework just told us it was. The other thing we're told is that together, the total number of ships that they ended up unloading was 25. Okay, so just like in the last example, we can figure out how much work crane 2 did because we know that crane 1's work plus crane 2's work must equal 25. So that means 25 minus crane 1's work must equal crane 2's work. So 25 minus H over X must be the amount of work that crane 2 did. If you do that algebra, that means crane 2 did 25 X minus H over X. Again, I have no idea what it means to do 25 X minus H over X amount of work, but we know for sure that that's how much crane 2 did because a framework just told us that. All right, so we're being asked for crane 2's time, and we're in luck because we have a rate and we have a work, and we know for sure that time is just work over rate, which means the time is 25x minus h over x over 1 over y. If you do that algebra, what you find is that crane 2's time is y, 25x minus h over x, or answer choice C. Okay, very nicely done. Couple things are starting to kind of repeat themselves. Notice how they give us rate, and notice as well, a lot of times we go total minus thing 1 in order to get thing 2. In this case, we had the total was 25. Thing 1 was h minus x. We could find the work for thing 2 by taking the total minus C1, or 25 minus h over x, in order to get the work of C2. That's super common on the GMAT. Okay, nice job. Remember to always use the framework. The framework is twice as smart as you and me put together. Trust it, especially when you're in a question and you're not quite sure exactly what's going on. Now, the big trick is to get the information they give you in the question into the framework, because they like to try and disguise that information. Also, and this is huge because it's all over the test, if a plus b equals total, then total minus a must equal b, and total minus b must equal a. And we saw that in this question. Crane 1's work plus crane 2's work must equal the amount of work they did together. That means that the amount of work they did together minus crane 1's work equals crane 2's work. Okay, great job. Okay, great job. And remember, if a plus b equals total, then total minus a must equal b. That is all over the test. Just being able to recognize that pattern is going to raise your score. I promise. Also, don't forget about your free training. 3 GMAT myths that are holding back your score. It's completely free. You can download it in the description. Okay, great work. We'll see you next time.